How to use the different Instagram formats. Hi everyone, my name is Jade Shabalski. I am a social media manager and content creator. I own a business called Maven and Muse Media, and what I do is I specialize in Instagram, LinkedIn, and Pinterest content. Basically, I help create images and captions that get people to stop their scroll and pay attention to what it is that you're saying. I kind of fell into this whole thing accidentally when Instagram was first starting out. I had a side business selling vintage clothing and housewares off of Instagram and Facebook. Different business owners around pop-up events that I would do were seeing what I was accomplishing on these platforms, and they would invite me for coffee to kind of teach them what I was doing. The teaching turned into they were seeing results I was, and then it turned into hiring me to just do it, which is how I exist today. I like to find the story that's in your business and share that with other people because, as we all know, digital marketing is really just storytelling. And you can find me at Maven and Muse Media. Who is the Colorado SBDC? We are an organization that helps local businesses start, grow, and prosper through street smart business education and assistance. I know from the title of this you might be wondering, what are the Instagram formats? I also like to call them neighborhoods. I like to think of Instagram as a city and then all of the other parts of Instagram as a neighborhood to that big city. Being from Chicago, we were a very neighborhood oriented city, so that's kind of where I got this whole thing from. So some of the neighborhoods or formats that are in the Instagram platform itself are a single feed post, story, a carousel, a reel, and a live. And now we're going to go through each one of those to kind of give you a little bit of information on all of the different neighborhoods. With all big cities that have neighborhoods that encompass them, we know that not everyone tends to go to the same neighborhood, lives in the same neighborhood, or hangs out in the same neighborhood. The same thing is true for the Instagram platform. I know that I enjoy hanging out in stories and in the feed, which are your single posts. I'm not too big into hanging out into reels, even though that's a very popular thing that everyone is pushing right now. And I'm also not too big into watching lives as they're happening. I prefer to watch them later when I have time. So, knowing this about myself, that means that I know other people enjoy hanging out in their own neighborhoods of Instagram that they like. So this is why it's important for you to track your insights to see exactly where your audience wants to see you, because they are actually telling you what neighborhood they are hanging out in and what neighborhood they like to see you in. Now, this might be different than the neighborhoods you actually enjoy hanging out in. So, for example, say that you're really good at creating reels, but you really don't like watching them. But your audience is telling you that they really enjoy watching your reels. So that would be a neighborhood that you would spend more time in and create more of that content in. If, for example, if your story views are way higher than the views on just your single posts in your feed, I would definitely suggest creating and keeping that story content going, because not only does it show that you like hanging out in that neighborhood, but people also enjoy seeing your content in that neighborhood. And really hone in on also the different kinds of content where people are telling you they like to be. Hone in on what about that content do they like. So, for example, are more people watching your stories that are behind the scenes of mess ups that you have for creating different content, or are they relating more to personal anecdotes that you're giving in your stories? So when you're looking at your insights, you also have to dissect that content specifically to see what it is about that content that people could be relating to. So the single feed posts, this is, I like to call your feed in general. This is where all of your single static posts hang out. It's your grid. There's a lot of different words for it. Feed, grid, all of the single posts that you have. So some examples of these would be memes, compelling images, or infographics. And this neighborhood right now is kind of getting a bad rap. I know a lot of people are talking about how their engagement is down on their single feed posts, but this just is another example of looking into where are your people hanging out in the neighborhoods of your specific feed. Are they hanging out in your stories? Are they watching your reels? Are they watching your lives? Where exactly is your audience consuming your content? Now, I don't want you to totally ignore this feed, your feed post, because the way I look at the feed in general is it's like a portfolio of your work. It's a portfolio to the world of what you're capable of. So someone could stumble upon you from your reel, and then if they're really into what you're doing, they're going to click your name and they're going to be taken to your feed, your portfolio, and you want to captivate them there. The goal of having a reel with a lot of views would be to also grab those people to get them as followers to you and have them interacting with your content. So I don't want you to ignore your single feed posts. And again, like some examples of content on here would be memes or infographics if you are a service provider, or just funny things. Again, remember that people are coming to Instagram to be entertained. So you do have to have some entertaining content to get them to stop their scroll. We're still in the neighborhood of your grid, your feed, your profile. In addition to the single image, the static image that you're putting on your profile or your feed, or whatever you want to call it, your grid, we're also going to use carousel posts. So what these are is they're just a series of cohesive images that go together to tell a story. For example, if you've created a whole series of art and you are wanting to showcase it all, a carousel post is a great way to do that. You can feature each image, and the best part about this is once you do when you're doing a carousel post, it will go into your followers' feeds more than once. So no matter what image you choose as the first image, the algorithm will change multiple images and present that entire post multiple times to your users. So they're going to show the user the different photo. So for example, if you have 4 photos loaded, the first time you put it up, Instagram will present your post with the first image, and then it could a few days later present the same post with the second, third, or fourth image. So the benefit of doing carousel posts is that the algorithm will automatically present this content multiple times to your users, and multiple times in hashtags or the geolocation. Wherever this content can live, the algorithm will present it a couple times. The other thing that's great about a carousel post is that it forces engagement. And this will help your engagement rate and rank you higher in the search and the algorithm. So if you have 4 posts again on your carousel, it's taking it's starting to count the time that it takes each person to flip through each one of those images. So you are building up engagement time by people flipping through the images and then scrolling down to read the caption. Some examples that I really like for carousel posts are how-tos. Again, a series, any kind of series that you have. If you have a whole product line with one ingredient, putting all of those pictures as a carousel. And it's also just a great way to also story tell. Again, if in your caption you are telling a whole story and there's a series of images that help evoke emotion to that caption, you're going to want to plug them in here. The next neighborhood I want to talk about is one of my favorites, which is stories. Stories expire in 24 hours unless you decide to save them and keep them as a highlight. We'll talk more about that a little bit, but if that's something you're interested in, definitely reach out to me to learn more about how to get your stories into highlights, maybe what kind of highlights you should have living on your profile. But definitely what I love about stories and what I love about stories as a business owner is that you can give a little bit more behind the scenes of how your business works. So with the single feed and your profile neighborhood, those are a little bit more curated. Everyone is putting up just the best of the best images that they can get, the best of the best memes that they create. Basically the best of the best content is living on your feed as a single post in your profile, because again, that's your portfolio to the world. Whereas stories make you more of a human. You can go all out here. You can do behind the scenes. Some things that really work for businesses that I use is we are very interactive. We're constantly asking questions. We're constantly asking survey questions or ask me anythings or things like that, because this is a better way for people to get to know you and your brand and your business. And it's also a great way to promote things that are coming up. Because it is 24 hours, if you were ever doing a show or going to be in person somewhere, you would want to give people notice. So if, say, you're having a show or an event on a Saturday, I would definitely start promoting things on Thursday, the Thursday prior, in your stories, because they do expire within 24 hours. And on top of just giving people a more personal look into who you are, stories is also a place to do some bomb market research. With a lot of my clients, if we are debating between packaging, or if we're debating between the naming a new product or any kind of product development, I'll go in here and create a survey or a question or a poll and ask people what they think. This is a great way for you to market research some people, get some feedback on what it is that you're doing, and get some honest feedback on what content is resonating with them. All right, now we're to the super sexy and trendy neighborhood called Reels. What Reels are, I like to look at them from a marketing standpoint of a commercial for your brand. So think back to when we watched TV and didn't stream it, and there were actually commercials that were in place between segments of the show. This is how I like to look at Reels. These are a way to draw a new audience to you. I use Reels a lot as a way to attain new customers and grab new consumers' attention. And you don't need to think of these as a Super Bowl type commercial every time. So they need to be entertaining and humorous, because people are definitely coming to this neighborhood of Instagram to be entertained, to kind of disassociate from the world for a minute and to just dive in and be entertained. If you've ever noticed that the clock disappears when you're in the Reels, so people don't actually know how much time has gone by, because you're constantly being fed after one reel ends, you're constantly being fed another one. So this is where I like to just look at it as a commercial for your brand, keeping it entertaining. Some examples that you could do for a reel would be to show the process of your art, show any processes that you have, and make use of trending audios and just be different here. This is becoming a very saturated neighborhood, so there are a lot of people in here creating a lot of content because they are hearing from different marketing gurus that this is where you go to grow. I have mixed feelings about that because I definitely believe that a lot of things that are sexy don't always work. And what works isn't always sexy. And Reels is definitely a sexy thing right now. And it also is working for a lot of people. So this is also very insightful for you to look at your analytics and your insights to see how people are actually resonating with your Reels. How many views do you have? What's happening to those views? Are people actually coming to follow you after you post a Reel with a lot of views? Are the Reels helping you gain followers? Are they, if you're tagging a product or a service or something they can buy in your Reel, are they actually buying it? This is a great tool to actually see if they're working and if people are actually hanging out there. And if they are, then definitely creating more Reel content is a suggestion that I would have for you. Our final neighborhood to talk about is one that is not very popular. We went from the most popular right now, Reels, where everyone is moving to, they're packing up and going there. It's the cool neighborhood. It's everything right now, to the least popular neighborhood, which are Instagram Lives. And I feel that if your business can do a live or has something to offer in lives, this is a great neighborhood for you to build some growth into. Just because there are not a lot of people hanging out here. Again, this is a very unpopulated neighborhood, which means that it's striving for content. There are users who are into watching lives or actually watching live recordings, which will live on your profile. So there is opportunity here. This is one of the neighborhoods in Instagram that's full of opportunity and very welcoming to new users. So some examples of what you can do for live from a business standpoint is you could do a Q&A. You could do something entertaining. So if you are a performer of some sort and you want to, you're working out something in your performance, you could go live and offer it just to people who've watched it, or there's just a lot here. Live trainings, Q&As, and just a place to kind of go and talk about things. Lives are very beneficial if you have a podcast. It's a great way to record you can record your podcast and record a live at the same time. There's just a lot of room for opportunity here. Again, it's very unpopulated, so your content will be seen here instead of fighting in a different neighborhood like stories or Reels. So now that we've gone through the different neighborhoods of Instagram, here's some ways to post content to the different neighborhoods. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is always posting to your profile, your feed, your grid. You want to consistently be posting to that. If it's just one static image, or if it's a carousel, or if it's just a video, you want to maintain that. You want to maintain your grid and your profile, because that, again, is your portfolio to the world. That's your portfolio to any collaborations you're looking to make. That's your portfolio to any interested party who is going to buy from you or wants to book you for something. So you want to make sure that you are keeping that maintained. With that said, there are different ways. There's a diagram here. So from your profile, you would do a post you would do a post to your feed. So you would do a single image, a carousel, or a video. And then from that, you would do a story about that. So you could either take the easy way and just click on the paper airplane and send that post to your story, but you want to write a little bit more about that. You could use it in your story, again, use for market research, product development. You want to get people to interact with you on your story. From that feed post, and when you put it to the story, you could create a profile highlight. So if, say, you're posting something to your feed that is a new product that you are producing, that is part of your brand, and it's going to be around for a while, you would take that story post and you would create a highlight. A highlight, again, are those bubbles that live underneath your name on your feed and are full of different stories that you have. Again, highlights are a quick way for people to kind of get a little behind the scenes action on you. If you have questions about any of this, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. All my information will be at the end. And another way to post to the neighborhood would be when you do a reel. So what you're going to have when you post the reel, you're going to automatically click it that it's going to post to your feed, because you want to keep your feed, your grid, your portfolio up to date and cohesive to let both Instagram and people you are wanting to find you know that you are a living, breathing person, organism of the whole city of Instagram. So when you post that reel, it's going to automatically get posted to the Reels neighborhood. It will also automatically, when you have clicked to show on your profile, it will automatically get posted to your grid, your profile. And from that point, you can go and post it to your story. And then you could even do a live about it. Another thing that a lot of people I've seen do, especially podcasters or entertainers, is they will do a live and then they will create reels from that live. So they save the live obviously to their camera roll, and then they go into an editing app and they will edit out different clips, and they will create reels from that. So you can work this chart both backwards and forwards. And again, if you have any questions on it, I am here to support you. Please feel free to reach out. So my final question for the day today would be, which Instagram neighborhood do you like hanging out in the most? So I said in the beginning, my two favorite neighborhoods on Instagram are stories and the feed. I'm very old school, love the still photos, love the art that goes into creating those still photos. And I really like stories because I like to see the behind the scenes of what business owners are actually doing. I like to see that they're also human. I like to see and celebrate their wins and their failures with them. That's why I really enjoy stories. But reels might be more up your alley. You might really like hanging out in there. But I challenge you to look at your insights and to see if the neighborhoods you enjoy are also the same neighborhoods your audience are enjoying. So where is your audience telling you they want to see more of you? What content that you're putting out have they told you that they really enjoy? Because they are actively telling you with a like, a view, a comment of what is resonating with them. And to you, that should just signal that you create more of that content. I'm a firm believer in not reinventing the wheel. So if there's a caption that you recognize has resonated with people, copy and paste that caption in a couple weeks and just switch out the photo. Or if there's a photo that has resonated with people, post that photo again in a couple weeks, but redo a caption. But again, it's really just going in right now to Instagram, into your insights, and seeing which neighborhood your audience is hanging out in the most, because you can get statistics on both stories, reels, and feed. Those are some numbers that are available to you right through Instagram, right through the Insights tab. I want to thank you for making it all the way through this presentation about the different Instagram neighborhoods. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to reach out to the Larimer SBDC. If you are looking for some help with social media, I am available through there. Just go to the tab and search Jade Schabelsky, and you will get 3 free social media sessions with me through the Larimer SBDC. And again, if you just have a specific question about anything that I've said, you can reach out to me through an email via my website. My website is mavenandmusemedia.com. But again, if you are looking for some Instagram coaching, some consulting, any kind of business consulting, the Larimer SBDC is where it's at. So be sure to check out what the consultants are actually offering. And thank you again for listening and watching, and I look forward to meeting you in person one day.